Hey, it's James from Finney Electrical, and on today's video we're doing some outside feature lighting. So what they've got going in, they've got some spike lights going in these nice kind of raised beds. There's like a white fancy rock and grey shale underneath, and they're just going to plonk in them shining up on these trees. And then they've got a 50-watt floodlight, which is going to be colour changing. So they've bought that. It comes like a little remote, so that's just going to kind of cast over the garden. So when they're having the summer parties and that, it's going to look really nice on a night. Right then, let's get into this. Right then, so into the property. We've just gone through with the customer exactly where the positions are going to go. So if you look over here, there's going to be some spotlights in this little bed here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you look over this side, I'm just going to go 5 round here. So 1, 2, 1 in the corner, 3, 4 and 5. So that's going to look really sound. We've got a little floodlight to go on top of here, which is going to kind of cast over the garden. So that's going to be nice. The customer's bought like a colour changing one. So on the summer evenings, you can get it on like different washes of light, kind of casting over the garden. So it's going to look really nice. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to empty all these white rocks, these decorative rocks, and then there's some like grey shale underneath. So we're going to get that out, put that separate, and then we can start digging out the soil, ready for his spike lights. Right then, so we're now starting on this little planter now, taking all the decorative rocks out. We've done that side already, like you saw. So I'm just going to leave Hayden to do that. Inside we've got a couple of up-down lights to wire up. So on the house here, you'll see one this side. We're going to put one this side, and the customer's bought 2 like up-down brush chrome versions. So we're going to take that black one down and put 2 brush chrome up-down lights in. So we're going to wire up for that. Also, they've got a table light they want putting in, so like a pendant that's going to hang over the table. So that's going to get installed as well. Right then, so we're about to add another up-down light. So we've just marked it out where we're going to drill through, and we're going to have to drill through in an angle to land into a socket zone. So when you're running cables, you have to make sure they land in electrical zones. So basically what electrical zones are where you can run cables. So a switch and a socket creates electrical zone. So this socket here creates a zone going vertically upwards and horizontal left and right. So over here, which is where we want to bring the cable through for the outside light, this up down light, that socket down there, if you can see it, that's got a vertical zone going all the way to the ceiling. So I'm just going to chop that channel out. So I already started it with the multi-tool. So I'm going to multi-tool it out and then get a chasey bit and just hit it in the middle. It should all pop out nicely. And then what we're going to do is drill through from outside through. So I think Hayden's finished clearing the rocks now, so we'll see how he's getting on. Bruh. You done, lad? Right, go on then. That's all the decorative rocks out, so that's looking brilliant. So they're all just piled up there. They're going to get pressure washed tonight by the customer, so they'll come up really sparkling. At the moment there's a bit of algae on them and stuff like that, so they'll come up nice and bright and white. So what we have to do now, there's like a shale layer. If you look, it's like these decorative grey rocks. All we'll do is just drag that back to this half of it, and then we can dig down and get a connection in here, which will pick up these 2 lights. Because the lights that we've got come with 3-metre flexes on. So there'll be a light here shining up there, a light there shining up there. There'll be one in the corner shining up there. All them will connect into a joint box here or here. We'll probably do it here. And then we've got another joint box to go. We'll probably do it this side of the tree, but there'll be a light here in the middle, a light there shining up on each of these trees. And that cable, it's going to come in on like an armoured, so we're going to have to drill down and get him into the corner around there if you don't see it. That's going to go all the way around. It's going to pop out here. Again, we're going to have to drill down out the back of this bed and get him up into here, and then we've got some lights in here then, so there's going to be 4 here, so we can do a connection here for a light to connect on to shine up at this tree, that tree, this tree and that tree. So there'll be 4 lights in here, and then from there that armoured cable is going to bob through there, run along there, and then up into this garage, where it's going to run along and down to a switch. So all that's just going to get switched from inside the garage. So what we're going to do is put a switch on the wall here. Also in the switch there'll be a cable coming out of that, running up the wall, right to the top there. And then there's going to be this big 50 watt colour changing floodlight that the customer's bought. And then that'll get sat just above the wall there. So let's get into this. So what we do normally is dig a foot down, lay the cable in, and then put some electrical tape over it saying, it says, it's like a yellow banner that says danger electrical cable. But we can't do this because it's like a concrete base up to here. So we're just going to have to lay the cable just underneath the soil just so you can't see it. So this is the other side of the shed. So the cable will come down there and get drilled into the planter here. So there'll be a connection box over here. So that's going to feed a spike light here and a spike light there. And then the cable comes round, there'll be a connection there, and that's going to feed a spike light there and a spike light there. Then we've already run that cable in already. So that just tucks down the back and then comes up just behind that bin and runs through into the garage. So Hayden's got all his rocks out, he's got all his shell back, and he started running his armoured cable in. So let's have a look. So we've got a connection here already. So that's ready to connect to the spike lights, which we'll do tomorrow. So we've got 3 to come out of here. That's all in. So that's looking nice, neat and sweet. Again, there's 2 to come out of that one. One for here, one for there. And then we've got the big runner cable to go in, all down the back and around to the other flower bed. Right, so Hayden's just drilling through with this cable. There we go, he's through. Right, so we've got his cable all reeled out. So that just has to go through his hole down here. And that'll pop out down there, and then we'll run it along there, round. And then we'll have to drill through that planter there, and then get him up into this section here. So now it's going to bob on to that fitting the outside light. So what we're going to do is basically use that socket zone to actually land the outside light into. So that's where the outside light would pop through if you drilled straight. So we're just going to drill on, it's going to be more than a 45-degree angle from that point here to pop you out here. And then all that cable's going to do is run along across the 6-inch of a room, which is another cable zone. So 6-inch around the room, and down the corner is 6-inch. So we're going to come along and then come down this switches zone to get you to the switch, which is going to power up your outside light. We'll get this cut out. So we're drilling through the wall now, so we're drilling from that point we said, and we've just lined it up to pop out in here somewhere, so hopefully we'll get the right angle. It's quite hard to judge sometimes, but basically you get the thickness of the wall, and then if you drill it straight it'd pop out here, so you're going to imagine the angle between here and the thickness of the wall. So the angle is roughly this kind of angle, about 30 degrees, something like that. So you're going to match that on the outside, and you should be roughly on the actual zone there. Alright, so we've popped out this side of the trunking, so we've had to chase that across, and that'll just go up the channel along and down to your switch to get powered up. That's that cable clipped in now. That's it through, going through into the box with a rubber grommet so it doesn't cut into the cable. That's ready to connect into neutral, and then we're just going to bang it in the bottom terminal there. So when you flick the switch, it'll connect the permanent live to the switch live, and those lights will turn on. So that's just clipped in there. Obviously plaster's come off a bit around this capping. But if you follow that around, it just goes through here and through the wall, and that still lands within that electrical zone, so that's good. those two up now. They're looking good. So all we have to do is wire this into here. So we'll just put the neutrals together, which is the blue ones. So that'll go in there. These two brown ones are going to go on the outgoing side of the switch into L1 there. And we're going to connect the earth into that back box there. Right then, so that's all in now. So we've got the switch in just behind Hayden. That's how that works. So you bang that on, that does your up down lights. You'll have to see on a night them two working. And now moving on to the table light. So all we've done is just pinged a laser level from one line to other to mark one side of the X, and I'm just going to ping a laser from that to that, and that'll get the centre of the table. There we go, that's the centre of the table marked up, so that'll land perfectly over, and this gets dragged back. What the customer wants, they don't want to chop into this wall, so at the moment you've got one switch which does them, you've got one switch that does the undercabs, and you've got another switch which did this end of the room. So what we're going to do, they want all the spotlights on one switch and they want the other switch to do the table pendant. So what we're going to do, the switch which does all these, basically we're going to extend the cable, so we'll have to drill a few holes over to here, and we'll take a cable from here across and connect into this, that's connected into the light, and then what will happen is it'll get its power from here and then carry on its merry way as it did and power all these up. At the moment we've just disconnected it, and if you look up here, this is the, well, was the other switch, so when you flip the other switch this comes live, so all we need to do is extend the cable from here and that will go to the dining room pendant. So we'll get a twin and earth from there, cut a few holes through the ceiling and then get him into that centre point there for the dining room table. Right then, so we've got a few access holes in just to get the cables where they need to be. So we've wired in for the dining room pendant. We're going to fit that in like a week's time or so, so just got to get a little box on that. But that's long enough to get wired up on the table, just because it's quite a heavy light fitted, so all the excess cable will just push above. That runs back to the cable we said earlier, so we had a cable labelled up dining room pendant. So when you flick the switch, that cable comes live. So then we've just got this cable here which runs through to the dining room lights, and now the switch does the dining room light instead of these spots. And then we've just, well, we wanted the dining room spots to come on with these spots, so we've just run a cable between, which is this cable here. So that is basically going to come live when we connect that in that end. So as soon as we connect it into this downlight here, which goes to the rest of the downlights, all the spots will come on one switch. So they're all connected up now, so we've got his lights in behind, we've got his wire connected up, ready for his pendant. So we'll fit that in a few weeks time like we said. And then these spotlights come on together off this switch here. So one switch does all, which is pretty sweet. So that's just with that link that we talked about. And then the other switch, obviously does nothing, but that is actually powering up that cable. So as soon as we ping a light onto it or fix a light to it, it'll come on with that switch. So that's this room done. So let's see what Hayden's doing outside. Let's see how he's getting on. So customer's a legend. They made me a nice bacon sandwich. Look at that beast. What have you got, Hayden? Sausage. So Hayden's just making up these spotlights now. So it comes in a nice little box. So all you have to do is basically attach the spike on. So there's like a little screw there. So you put your spotlight up to it and then send your screw through. And then you basically just take them 4 screws out and get your G10 lamp in. And then that's all set up. Good thing about these come with a 3 metre lead, which is awesome. It's like an outdoor tough cable. So that'll just lay in across the back and then into your joint boxes. So we've got to get a joint there, and then there's some, it's called magic gel. It's like a rubberized, it sets like rubber, so it's like a liquid that sets like rubber, so that'll go in there to make it all waterproof. Got a couple of lights in now, so that's going to shine up at that tree there. Got this light in here which shines up at that tree. And then the other end of this run, Ian's just chopping it now. So have a look. So he's just chopping through it now. So we'll basically, that comes into this planter. We've got a connection there which is going to pick up 2 lights, and there's a connection here which is going to pick up these 2 lights, and then that'll be this section done basically. So that cable drops down into the guards like you saw, and then that other end of that cable's just above the door here. You can see cable dangling down here, that's the other side of it. So we're basically going to put that end into like a like a metal adaptable box up there. Then out of that we're going to earth the armoured braiding. So I'll show you when we do that. And then we're just going to put a bit of twin air from that metal adaptable box down to a switch, and then we're just going to power that switch. So when you flick the switch on, it'll turn on the spike lights basically. Right then, so we're just going to get this switch mounted. In fact, we're going to leave Hayden doing that. That's what's going to sit on the wall in the middle here, and then we've got some surface trunking just to come out the top of it up to the top there. So all this is going to get boarded out, you see, so you won't see any cables above basically. Like I said before, we're going to have some twin and earth coming out of an adaptable box at the top down to your switch, and then we've just brought in this which is basically a feed from another switch. So in this cable there'll be a permanent live and neutral. In the back of your switch there'll be a connection which runs it via the switch to your outside lights basically. And then it's got another twin and earth to bring down for when we do the connection in the metal adaptable box, and basically extend this black cable, this armoured cable, convert it to a twin and earth and bring it down to your switch. That's what that'll do. Just have a quick look at this then. We've got the neutrals all together, you get your lines and your earths. If you notice, there's an earth tag which basically earths the braiding of the armoured cable. So let's have a look. I can get a piece here. So inside this cable you've basically got your 4 cores, you've got your sheath in that white innard, and then you've got like a metal braided. So that earths that. So just make sure that if you ever cut into it, you hit the earth first, and then if you hit one of the line conductors, it's just going to bang out straight away. So that's why I use armoured cable when you run cables outside. It just gives it a bit of protection. So what I'm going to do is just leave these out so we can get a test. I want to make sure all these lights turn on, because you don't want to bury everything and then you turn it on and something's not working, you have to dig it all up again. So we're going to leave these boxes like this. You've got that one there, you've got that connection there, and then you've got another 2 over here. So we'll leave them out. Let's see how Hayden's doing in here. How you doing, bud? So he's got his trunking up, that goes into the switch, and he's basically just copying another switch in here that does another light. So this switch here is just going to do the outside lights. He's doing a good job there. So just bringing in the feed, which will be the feed. He's got another twin there to bring down. So whilst Hayden's doing that, I've just got a connection to do down here. So Hayden's just done that there, all ready to get gelled up on that with that waterproof compound. So what we have to do is basically gland these 2 cables off into this box, and then we've got 2 little outlets for this light and this light. So it'll end up looking something similar to that. So you've got your 2 armoured glands in with your earth strap there, just earthing the braidings of the armoured, and then you're going to have your 2 kind of 20mm compression glands going into there, going out to the lights. Alright then, let's do this. Right then, we're just going to gun drop some boxes now. So we've got a product called, I call it Magic Gel, but it's the, let's have a look, MP Gel Plus by Whisker, that's what we're using. So what you have to do, you basically take this sleeve out. So what we have to do, we just take this sleeve out, like that. So there's 2 parts to this, one in one half, one in the other. So, but as soon as you take that sleeve out, you can actually mix them both together now. So, let's give these a little mix now inside the bag. Just give it a really good mix. Just mixing both parts, so I'll probably spend a few minutes doing this, so we'll come back to it in a bit. Right, that's all mixed together now. So it's basically like a 2 compound, and then once you pour it out and just let it set, it'll set like a rubber. And basically any water that could get in can, because it's just all set in rubber basically. So because these connections are kind of hanging out the box, and you can't really fix them down or do anything with them, what we're going to have to do, nice little tip is, we can add another another compression gland here. Let's just open this up. So we can add another compression gland and then basically fill the box up with the lid on and just keep it kind of tilted sideways, so it'll fill right up and then fill up to the brim of this, and that way you can get into every nut and cranny. So if we just kind of try to fill up the box up with this, these will be sticking out and it won't really do its job properly. So what I'd have to still get to those terminals. So what I'm going to do is just screw this little whisker compression gland in and then just pour in from this side basically. Let's do that now then. Right, that's all ready then. So what we're going to do, what you can do is use this little device here, and all you do is just get that little circle thing inside there, pop that on there, turn him around, and then you actually puncture him through the bag, and then you can actually reseal it again, or use it as like a little nozzle, but we're not going to use that just because we're going to use the full bag. So I'm just going to chop the corner, find it a bit easier than using that applicator. There we go, that's that off. So I'm just going to fill some of the inside now, see if we can get it pushed down a bit without losing any. I'll pour a bit in for now, get the lid on and then fill in from this compression gland hole. So we've already done a dead test just a minute ago. There we go. So we've got the testers on, test everything dead up to this point, and it's all passed. So it means when we liven it up everything should work, it should be all fine. So just get that little compression gland there, tighten that on there. Get the lid on now. Have a look. Got a flat here, so I'm going to fasten the lid on. Just do like a little 90 degree thing like that. Turn this box sideways like so, and we can pour in from the top then. So what's it just going to work? Yeah, cheers lads. It's not the easiest to apply. Just try and get it in the hole without getting it everywhere. There we go, so it's going to fill up his box like this basically. That's fully full now, so I'll just tighten it up a little bit, and then all we have to do is just leave it like that to set. So just leave it like that. I've got a little air bubble then. Oh, I might need to fill again actually. There's a little air bubble that pops out and then stuff gets everywhere. There we go, that's that. We've used a full bag to do one joint, so we'll try and use a little bit of this in the next one. But yeah, we'll just leave that like that, and that's that done. So we've got another 3 boxes like that to do. So once they're all sealed up and they're all set, we can then get him powered up. So like I said, Hayden, we're doing the chunking down the wall, the switch, getting the feed in, doing all that, getting all that powered up. So once it's set, we've dead tested it, so we can basically just turn it on then, and these should all light up nicely. So Hayden's got to get his light up here, so there's a little floodlight going here like we said, so that's going to go in, that's going to wire back to that 2-gang switch as well, and then I think that's about it, that's us done down here. So obviously with this kind of install you need to have something called RCD protection for these circuits. So what that is, it's just a device, a safety device which measures the current coming out and the current coming back, and it just makes sure that it'll trip if there's ever a fault, so you don't basically get electrocuted. So looking really good. Look at that. They look better in the dark. There we go, so Hayden's finished this off now. So he's got his chunking in, the armoured glands in there, and then that goes up to the outside like there. So if you look, that's customers' light that they've bought, that kind of shines up at garden nicely. What else we got? So that's on with that switch, I think. Oh, no, that one. There we go, so that turns on there. And these are these spike lights, they're looking amazing. So that's just kicks on and off with that switch there. So he's done a really good job. See, I'll just take you through them then. Like I said, we had a connection under here, and then like a little flight lead to each light. So, yeah, they're looking really nice now. So they're shining up on each tree. It's just starting to get dark now, so they're looking brilliant. It's perfect for like a summer's evening party when we can have one. And then that's that side. Aidan, bless him, he spent a good hour getting these white rocks black. The customer gave him like a little jet wash yesterday, and they're looking brilliant. So that's us done down here. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the little bell notification so you know when we're next uploading. As always, have a good one from me, and I'll see you on the next one.